Hello friends, very good afternoon. Welcome to another webinar on this series of manufacturing excellence. As Shivam has told, now inventory has become one of the big challenge for the industry to make it competitive. There are so many approaches to reduce the inventory, but now the lean has come in a different way. I'm sure all of you must be aware about the just-in-time concept. Type on your computer and I would try to clarify that question as and when it comes up. Before this, we have conducted about 8 webinars in this series on different topics to attain the manufacturing excellence. So in continuation that, let's see how we can reduce inventory to make our products more competitive and increase profitability of the organization. In the earlier webinars also, I mentioned before starting any activity, any concept, any technique, we must be very clear about the goal of our company, of the business organization, why we are doing it. So, what is the goal of the organization? To be more precise, goal of the every organization, whether it is a large, small or big, to make more money now and in the future. To increase our profitability and turnover, we try to learn and adopt various new techniques. So just in time is another innovative technique which can help every kind of company to increase its profitability, reduce its working capital, and enhance its competitiveness in the market, which is the most crucial for the survival of and growth of any organization. Now, once the goal is clear to the company, its management and the people, based on the goal, all management, operators, every employee of the company take actions to achieve the goal. It is generally made, yearly goals are made for any company. Here, how to measure the progress, that becomes a very big issue. And better the measurement, better the control. There is a saying in the quality management, if you can't measure anything, then you cannot control. So, the progress of company's activity towards the goal must have a clear and effective measuring units to control the progress. Most of you, maybe from finance background or the management background, you must be monitoring the progress of your business on a periodical basis, daily basis. So in the conventional way, how the performance of any company is judged, there are some common metrics used by the financial experts and management professionals. Just like the very first and most important metrics used is net profit. How much profit the company has made on the monthly basis or yearly basis. Then second becomes efficiency. What is the efficiency of the operations of the company? Efficiency decides what is the yield, how much is output divided by input, that indicated by the efficiency. And every company tries to increase its efficiency. Then the next most commonly used metrics is the capacity utilization of the company. Unless you utilize 100% capacity, the full benefit cannot be attained. So this is a common metrics used. Then the fifth most common metrics is return on investment. The financial terms, what is ROI you have attained during the financial year. And the last but not the least is the commonly used metric is the cash flow. Cash flow is essential to manage the day-to-day operations. These are the conventional measurements being used in the company. So this is based on the traditional management, but now I'll take you to totally different metrics to measure your progress now and in the future. This is called as a TOC wisdom. Many of you must have heard the concept theory of constraint given by one of the greatest management gurus, Goldrat. He says only 3 metrics are more than enough to measure and manage the performance of any company. So in contrast to the traditional metrics of net profit, efficiency, utilization, return on investment and cash flow, now the new metrics, what is recommended to you to use is called as a TOC wisdom. TOC stands for theory of constraints. So these 3 metrics are throughput, inventory and operating expenses. If you just manage these 3, measure it, analyze it and control these 3 inputs, it can take care of all other traditional old performance metrics used by the management. What is a throughput? Is the rate at which the system generates money through sales. Actually, your business profitability and business performance depend how much money is being generated by your company through sales. Every moment, every day, every month and every year. So this becomes the most important because profitability will depend on the throughput, means more the turnover, more the profit margins. So that is directly proportional to the throughput. Most of companies, they go on producing and not able to sell. So ultimately what happens, the only inventory is being piled up just to cover the economy of scale concept. They go on producing more and more and keep it unsold in the stores or stockyard of the company. That is not a throughput. Inventory making or non-sellable production is not a throughput. Only money generated by the system has to be counted out as a throughput. The raw material and purchase parts are not throughput. So the first paradigm shift is required from the lean perspective. Unless there is a customer demand, just to utilize your resources and the manpower, producing and stocking is not going to increase the profitability of the company. That was an old traditional concept. Now companies, they have changed their mindset. Only they should produce what can be sold. It is the production should not be for the keeping stock. So the throughput is the most important metrics which has to be monitored. Then the next one is the inventory. What is inventory? All the money the system has invested in purchasing things which it intends to sell. It includes raw materials, work in process, and finished goods and scrap. These are the 3 items which constitute inventory. Then next is the operating expenses. All the money the system spends in order to turn inventory in throughput. Actually, we are buying all raw materials for what? Only for adding value as per the customer requirement and selling to convert into cash. So basically all the activities what we do right from raw material to sales and getting the money involves several operations, and to conduct those operations we have to incur expenses as a salary, direct or indirect, salary paid to employees, overheads of the company. Depreciation of machines is also operating expenses. It must be taken in account because this is an expense. It is reducing the asset every year that way. So it is an expense. Then operating supplies are also operating expenses. So these three main elements cover the operating expenses. So the throughput, inventory and operating expenses are the new metrics which must be managed by every company to measure the progress of its performance. So now we have got three new metrics, decreasing where we should focus. Now, as a management representative, you have to identify where you should focus out of these three new performance measurement metrics. So you should go for decreasing operating expenses, decreasing inventory, or increasing throughput. Out of these three parameters, what should be your priority? Which one you should take as a number one metric to manage it? So let's see the current priority in a traditional management practices. All companies, what they do, they increase the profitability or reduce the cost. What they do, they try to decrease the operating expenses on the topmost priority. Then decrease the inventory. Here they take inventory inventory as commercial activity. And the last priority goes on the increasing the throughput. This is the conventional world of management which is being traditionally followed by.
That is to ask questions. You can ask them to ask questions.
Yeah, in all management companies. Then new paradigm based on the new concept what I discussed, new wisdom based on the theory of constraint and lean practices. Now the priority has to change. The first topmost priority is the increasing the throughput. Then comes decreasing inventory and finally decreasing the operating expenses. So this should be the priority, and all strategies and operations must focus in this way. So how to increase the profit? The very simple equation, everyone is very well aware. Profit is equal to revenue minus cost. To increase profit, we have to increase the revenue and decrease the cost. So this is a conventional wisdom we are following, but how to put in practice now to increase this profit, to increase the revenue, we have to now focus on increasing the throughput of the organization. And to reduce the cost, reduce the inventory and reduce the operating expenses. Now these are the three main areas of concern to monitor and manage the progress of business performance of any company. So how to increase the profit? As I told, these are the three parameters which need to be managed, but specifically the theme of this particular webinar is how to reduce inventory using the most effective and efficient technique of just-in-time or the lean production which was evolved by the Toyota. So we will be discussing now on the inventory reduction or the inventory management. So currently, if you see, the inventory is being managed in most of the companies by the materials management function, where the procurement or purchase department, purchase activity plays a crucial role. So the challenges before procurement function or the materials management function is just to ensure timely availability of required goods for production or the sales. Then they have to maintain minimum inventory to reduce the cost. Then the right quality and right quantity of material should be purchased and made available to the production people. The purchase activity should be focused on shortest lead time. The longer the lead time requires more inventory, which adds cost. So the shorter lead time that helps in cost reduction. Then high inventory turns. Another is how many times you are rotating your inventory in a year. That is one of the materials management performance measurement index, which I will be discussing in the coming slides. And finally, the minimum price of the raw materials or the procured item has to be attained by the procurement function. So these are the challenges which need to be addressed by any new inventory management system. So inventory management in a manufacturing or retail organization involves planning, coordinating and controlling activities related to the flow of inventory into the system, through the system and out of the organization. So to increase the throughput, the inventory has a great role. Inventory has a great role to enhance the flow of value-added product into the system, through the system and the organization. So this is a basic objective of any management in any organization, to enhance the flow through the system. So far, if you have got any question, please type on your computer so that I can clarify. So let's come to the what is inventory? This is a very common word. Let us again try to understand it, especially with lean perspective. The lean manufacturing or JIT concept that focuses very highly on the inventory. So how it is defined? It is an accumulation of a product's work in process or the raw materials at any stage of the process. Actually, we are not supposed to accumulate any raw material, WIP or the finished product, ideally in an efficient system. It must flow. Just like we put water in a tank and it goes on continuously flowing from the tap. Same way, without any accumulation, the material must flow to enhance the throughput of the organization. But practically, it becomes quite difficult, rather impossible in any manufacturing system because of so many factors. So many companies plan for extra inventory to keep safety stock to cover the very common problems like production imbalance, because in various processes there is some imbalance in their capacity or production rate. Equipment breakdowns that hampers interrupt the production, late deliveries from the suppliers, long setup time in the machines from changeover from one product to the another, high rate of quality defects that also compels us to keep inventory. So these are some of the reasons which compel the organization to store inventory. So we have to see that how to minimize the inventory by increasing the perfectness of our process. Let's try to understand from this unique graphics. Like inventory is like a water level in a river or a sea. higher the water level, we are not able to see the real problems behind the operations. In fact, there are so many constraints and problems are in any production system, like unleveled processes, long changeover time, poor quality rate, machine breakdowns, unreliable suppliers, complex purchasing process, longer lead time. These are some of the reasons that compels us to keep the inventory to run our business. Just like this ship is selling without noticing these problems. It is smoothly selling because we are having a very high level of inventory. Let's see another scenario. Now we have reduced inventory to the from 100 point to, let's say, 50%. Now let's see how the operation takes place. Still the operation is smooth because there is enough buffer between the problems and the inventory. Now let's again bring down the inventory to the minimum level and see how the business is impacted. So once the problems are exposed, then you cannot sell your business. You cannot operate your business smoothly as we are doing. So this is one of the most important aspect of any business. Lowering the sea of inventory exposes the rocks which focuses on the issue that were hidden by inventory. So just to expose the problem, we have to reduce the inventory so that the permanent solution is evolved for all these problems what we are seeing. Because these problems are hidden and unnoticed because of high level of inventory, which is costing heavily to the company, which is not being realized with the conventional management practices. This is the basic essence of inventory management with a just-in-time approach. So, from the lean perspective, inventory is taken as a waste, whereas the traditional management, in the balance sheet of all the companies, you will find the inventory is taken as asset in the company, which personally I feel it is no more relevant today. It is a waste. It has to be taken in a different way. It has to be minimized. Otherwise, if it is taken as an asset, it is not impacting the management because they think that money is with us, but it is actually not. So inventory, as you have seen, it hides various kinds of operation and maintenance problems. Because of more inventory, we are living with the existing problems and running the business at the cost of our profitability. So inventory causes several other types of waste in addition to the accumulation of unwanted material. The more the inventory, more transportation cost has to be involved because more handling, more transportation, so additional cost is involved. For the storage cost, that also goes up. Nowadays the space is a very expensive. The scarcity of land has made storage space very costly. So more the inventory, you need more storage space, which adds cost. Then the damages, more the inventory, more handling losses, that increases overall cost of production. In many situations where the product has got shelf life, like a food or products, medicines, various chemicals, milk or other products which must be consumed within specified time. So higher inventory, that causes higher waste because of the shelf life expiry. So the delay is more the inventory, it means bigger lot production, which takes more time for production to dispatch, lead time. So this causes delay. So these includes additional costs of higher inventory. So it requires, and ultimately it requires more working capital. If inventory is high, you have to take more working capital from the bank. By high inventory, only beneficiary is the banks. rest everybody, the customer or the producer, they are incurring more cost. Only the bank is getting benefited without adding any value to the product. So ultimately the inventory increases cost. From the lean angle, personally I feel if you have to start a cost reduction drive, the very first thing you must address to reduce the inventory, which gives immediate benefit by reducing the working capital and the capital cost, storage cost, and inventory handling cost. So what's the objective of inventory control? Is to achieve satisfactory level of customer service by keeping inventory costs within reasonable bounds. First thing, inventory is kept to provide better customer service by offering them the product with the very, very short lead time. That is one purpose of the inventory. Avoid long wait by the customer. The second is cost of ordering and carrying inventory. So inventory procurement, holding and maintaining, that requires a lot of money. It adds cost to the company. So objective of inventory management or inventory control is to improve the customer service, offering them with a minimum lead time but without impacting on the overall cost. The second is to reduce the cost of procurement of the raw materials required for the production. So what is a effective inventory management? Is a system to keep track of inventory. The whole purpose of JIT is to introduce an effective inventory management system, which can be done by proper tracking of the inventory. Then a reliable forecast of demand. Based on the actual data, use of statistical techniques and various tools, the company must be able to have a reliable forecast so that it can plan inventory accordingly. Third is knowledge of lead time. Lead time is one of the very, very important variables in day-to-day operations. It is maybe procurement lead time when you are buying raw material. What is the time from the date of placement of order to actual receipt of the material? The same way customer angle, date of placement of order to delivery of the material, product to the customer. So the lead time knowledge is very important. So these are the parameters which must be addressed for effective management of inventory. So then the reasonable estimates of holding costs, how much actually it is costing to you hold the inventory, what is the ordering cost, how much it costs to the company to place each order, and third is shortage cost. In case of shortage of inventory, it loses the opportunity for the business. That's why it has a opportunity loss cost or shortage cost. So the company managers, they must be aware about these terms to reduce the inventory, to reduce the cost and offer better service to the customer. Yeah. So far, if you are having any question, kindly please type on your computer so that I can answer those questions. A classification system is also required so that you can manage each kind of inventory. Let's see how the inventory is measured and monitored or counted. In most of the companies, a periodic system is used where the physical counting of items made at the periodic intervals. It may be monthly, it may be yearly or quarterly. So many companies, they do stock verification or the inventory audit by the periodic system. The other method is perpetual inventory system, which keeps track of removal from the inventory continuously, thus monitoring current level of each inventory. Many companies, they are using ERP or the SAP systems or the electronic control systems to monitor the inventory. So this gives the continuous monitoring, continuous track of the inventory status. The another very common methodology used in most of the production systems is the two-bin system. Just to manage inventory effectively, two containers of inventory are kept. Once the first container is consumed, reorder is again order is placed. So all the time a safety stock of one container is maintained, just like in the domestic gas cylinders. Earlier when it started, I remember very well, there used to be only one cylinder given in the 1970s when it was introduced in India. Then it used to be a big problem. When the cylinder is exhausted, you have to place order, you have to wait for maybe for more than a week, then the cylinder will be developed. So after a few years, double cylinder system was introduced throughout the country by the Indian Oil. So the two cylinders are always delivered, means one cylinder is kept reserved and there is in use. When the first cylinder gas is consumed, the next one is replaced and the order is placed. The same technique is called as a two-bin system, is used in the most of the industries for the production operations. So another counting matrix is the inventory turnover. It is how many times you circulate inventory to the business. So these are the four most commonly used metrics for counting the inventory in any company: the periodic system, perpetual inventory system, two-bin system, and inventory turnover ratio. So from the JIT angle, inventory types can be classified in these are the 6 categories. First category is based on the position in the value stream. In the production system, there are 3 kinds of inventory: the raw material, work in process, and the finished goods. Inventory categorized by the purpose. Then from the purpose angle, just to take care of uneven situations, to ensure that uninterrupted supply is made to the customer and the production system, there are 3 kinds of safety stocks are maintained. One is safety stock is maintained just to take care of fluctuations from the supplier angle to the organizational procurement angle. So there is always some problems occurs when the raw material supply is delayed. Just to take care of those delays, to ensure uninterrupted production and supply to the customers, a safety stock is maintained. Safety stock has to be calculated based on some scientific model which has been already evolved, and the minimum possible safety stock has to be maintained so that in case of any failure from the supplier end, the production and sales are not affected. Then the next stock is the buffer stock. In every product, every kind of industry, there is always fluctuation in the demand from the customer angle. The market forces, because of many political or economic situations, many times sudden change comes in the market. Sometimes suddenly demand goes up and sometimes demand vanishes. So once demand goes up, that opportunity should not be lost. For that, a buffer stock is maintained, so that if sudden demand is increased, company should not lose the business opportunity and maintain a buffer stock. Again, it can be calculated based on the actual data. The statistical analysis and techniques are there. From that, one can know how much buffer stock should I keep. Then third is the maintenance of shipping stock. in many products for the shipping, proper packaging, container filling and preparation is required, which needs time. For the uninterrupted shipping, there must be some stock maintained so that there is no delay for the packaging and delivery of the material. So these three kinds of stocks has to maintain to take care of fluctuations in the supplier market, buyer market, and within the company. So these are 6 types of inventory need to be calculated and managed to ensure that there is no stock out situation. At the same time, there is no surplus stock. So this way, inventory need to be managed. So the costs associated with inventory, there is always a cost with the inventory. The managing inventories to increase net income requires effectively managing costs that fall into these 5 categories. So inventory cost can be classified in these 5 categories. Components. First is the ordering cost, then the purchasing cost, the carrying cost, stock out cost, and the quality cost. Let's see what these costs include. The ordering cost is the cost of preparing and issuing the purchase orders, receiving and inspecting the items included in the orders, and matching invoices received with the purchase orders and delivery records to make the payment. Before making the payment, all these things, these 4 activities has to be done by any company: preparation and issue of purchase order, receiving of items, inspection of received items, and finally record, maintain, and preparing for the payment based on the actual record. So all these 4 activities requires lot of manpower, resources, time to perform these activities for the ordering. Second component of inventory cost is the purchasing cost. The cost of goods required from the suppliers, that including the freight. So these are the 3 elements in this particular purchasing cost. First, cost of goods. Whatever you purchase, you have to incur the cost, purchasing cost. Then the freight to receive to your stores or to your factory premises. And during this, the loading and unloading also involve the cost. These are the 3 components of the purchasing cost. The third is the inventory carrying cost, the cost that arises while holding inventory of goods for production or sale. This includes the opportunity cost of the investment tied up in the inventory cost associated with storage. So there are 6 particular items in the carrying cost for the capital cost. It is basically to buy the inventory, we take working capital, we block the working capital, either it is taken from the banks or from the internal resources of inventory in a secured and safe way, like water, air, ambient atmosphere, light, electricity. All these utilities are required to hold the inventory. Then administrative costs, hold the administrative cost to manage the inventory in the premises. Then the material handling cost. All the inventory requires loading, unloading, issuing, all these activities that needs handling of it. So which has a cost. Then the insurance and taxes. Based on the value of the inventory, you have to take the insurance. More the inventory, more the insurance costs and the taxes. So this way, these are the 6 elements of the inventory carrying cost. Then the 4th component of the inventory cost is stock out cost. The cost that results when a company runs out of particular item for which there is a customer demand and the company must act quickly to meet the demand or suffer the cost of quickly. It is opportunity cost. If you are not having enough in inventory, so you are going to lose the business. And the emergency purchasing. In such situations, once you are doing emergency, then you have to pay very high price for the same item if you take in advance. The same thing what nowadays airlines they are doing. If you want to buy immediately, then the prices of air tickets are very high. But if you manage it properly, well in advance, the cost is less. Same thing has been started by Indian Railways also. So any emergency purchasing, whether it is a Tatkal ticket or emergency buying, it has got a cost. So we have to keep a balance between the opportunity cost and the cost. These are the costs. And the fifth element is the component of the cost need to be quality. During last webinar, I have discussed about the cost of poor quality, how it can be minimized by quality management, how the cost can be required. So the quality that comes as a quality cost, it has got 4 elements: internal failure cost, external failure cost, prevention cost, and appraisal cost. I recommend all participants go through the cost of poor quality measure webinar, which is available on the YouTube, to understand this subject more clearly. Any question, please? If you have come across any doubts, kindly type on your computer. So, summarizing this quality cost, internal failure cost, that is due to wrong specification, damage, obsolescence; external failure cost, warranty claims, recall, complaint, settlement, demerge, replacement; prevention cost is training, management, system security; appraisal cost is stock verification, quality inspections, audits, everything. So all these activities are essential. More the inventory, more the quality cost also goes up. So if you just take the total inventory cost, it ranges between 20–30% of the turnover of the company, or the inventory value of the company. So which is a very high. Just by having a better management, better understanding of inventory management, immediately cost can be significantly reduced. That's why the JIT and lean manufacturing or just in time gives very high emphasis to minimize the inventory. So this gives immediate benefit in cost reduction by reducing the working capital and reducing the inventory carrying cost. Now comes that every company has got thousands of items which need to be stored, procured, and managed. So inventory management requires that, depending on the value and the importance of the stock items, one has to take different strategy for managing different value items. So for that, the very first step is to do the ABC analysis, the classification of inventory. So this discusses how inventory items can be classified and how accurate inventory records can be maintained to reduce the inventory carrying cost. So the common methodology, very famous globally, is the ABC analysis, which helps in the classifying the inventory based on the ranking. It was developed in 1951 by the Ford Dickey of General Electric. Suggested that G classify items according to relative sales volume, cash flows, lead time, or stock out cost. Just I'm looking for some questions, just trying to. This one. Now you have changed the formula. There are some questions have come. How to calculate holding cost and lead time. No forecast and high variation in forecast. From customer, lot of slow moving inventory is built up in the system. How to tackle this? So for this, you need statistical data, historical data of the consumption pattern, purchase pattern. Based on that only you can know this is a slow moving item. Then only you can decide. To calculate the holding cost and lead time, it is not based on the forecast. It is calculated based on the actual inventory kept in the system. So whether forecast is there or not, there is a whole inventory holding cost is associated. So nothing to do with the forecast or the calculation of the holding cost. So as I mentioned, keeping proper record of the inventory counting and analyzing them scientifically is essential for tackling all this, for reducing the holding cost and reducing the inventory of the slow moving items. I hope this is clarified to the participants. Now coming to that, ABC analysis is required for identifying which is the highest value item. Yeah. No, just in managing this thing. Sometimes, yeah. Most of you must have heard about the Pareto principle, famous as 80-20 rule, in which it was identified 80% of sales will come from the 20% of the inventory stock keeping units. 20% of sales will come from the 80% of the inventory SKUs. So 80-20 rules has been found to explain many phenomena that interest managers. For example, 80% of sales come from 20 and vice versa. So more focus is required on those 20% which contribute to 80% of the revenue of the company. The ABC analysis helps to identify which requires more attention, more accurate management to reduce the cost. So ABC analysis divides inventory into 3 classes based on annual value of the inventory volume. So class A is classified as high annual dollar value, high annual monetary value of items. Class B is the medium annual monetary value, and class C is the low annual monetary value. These are used to establish policies that focus on the few critical parts and not the many trivial ones. If we take any large organizations where many components are there, it requires thousands of varieties of the items, but some are very nominal value and some items are having very high value. Insurance items are the high value items. So this is essential for all the companies, whether it's small or big, to classify their all inventory in ABC class and use different strategy to manage the inventory of these 3 classes. So this is just example given here. A company by stock number, percentage of number items is a 20% annual value of these A class items, that goes to 72%. The same way, C value, there are so many items which may be having 80%, 50% of the value, but the value wise percentage annual dollar value is only just 5%. So for the A category item which has got a value of 72% and the B category is 23%, whereas C category items is just 5%, but it has got a very high value. So here most important that once we know the ABC analysis, then we'll manage properly the A class items and B class items so that we can control the cost. So that's why the ABC analysis is one of the very first steps of the inventory management. You just see graphically the A item hardly in this graph is around 14-15%, but it is costing to the company to 80% of the inventory cost. Whereas the B category item is about 30% of the total inventory, which has got the annual value, means dollar value of just 15%, where the C item is more than 50%, but it has got hardly 5% of the value. So the ABC analysis, this can be applied simply in every small, large and small companies also. So I strongly recommend to all the ECAs, emerging corporate accounts, to make ABC analysis of their inventory items and try to identify how much is it actually costing. Then for the effective inventory management, accuracy of records is very important. Most of the small companies, I found there is no accuracy of records. In many companies, there are no records, proper records, and whatever the records are there is no accuracy. So the first thing, small and medium companies, they must ensure that whatever the inventory records are maintained, it is actual and accuracy is maintained so that proper decision and action can be taken to reduce the inventory. So accurate records are a critical ingredient for production and inventory management system. It allows the organization to focus on what is needed and what is not needed immediately, necessary to make precise decision about ordering. So if your records are properly maintained and correct, then you can take a very correct decision of ordering the replacement of items. Then incoming and outbound record keeping must be accurate. Here, the incoming and outgoing means purchasing and the sales records. These are the two most important metrics, records, to maintain the inventory. The inventory should be very much linked with the sales, production and the purchase. So stock room should be secure. Security of the stock rooms is essential. In many situations there is a misuse, theft are taking place. So it may appear in your record, this is the actual record, there is something different data in your records, but actually in the store room, if it is not secured, if it is not properly managed, there will be shortage of the items, so that becomes your record becomes misguiding. Now, coming to that, after ABC classification and record management, next, how to order it. For ordering purchase of items, there is already mathematical formula has been developed by the materials management personnel and economists. This is the first step in inventory management. How much should I place order for our uninterrupted production? It cannot be just ad hoc or the random. It has to be based on some scientific formula. So the materials management people, they have devised a formula that's called economic ordering quantity. The first decision in management inventory is how much order should be given to the supplier. That will be decided not by the personal experiences or wishes of a person, but it should be based on the economic ordering quantity formula. It is a decision model to calculate the optimal quantity of inventory to order under a given set of assumptions. So EOQ formula evolved based on the experiences of materials management people, and this appears like EOQ is square root of 2 DP by C, where D is the demand in units for a specified period. What is, for example, a monthly consumption rate? How much you need for your production? P is relevant ordering cost per purchase order. As I mentioned, those 5 elements of inventory holding is one of the purchasing cost, ordering cost. So placement of each order has a cost. The cost of purchase order has to be calculated. Then third is the C, the relevant carrying cost of 1 unit in stock, the time period used for the D, for the demand order. As I mentioned in the inventory carrying costs, these has to be calculated how much each item, each unit of inventory is going to cost. So this cost must be calculated, and based on that, what should be the quantity of each purchased order or the economic ordering quantity. It can be calculated based on the square root of 2 dp by C, and this will give the minimum inventory holding cost without any stock out situation. So graphically, if we just see how the cost is impacted, ordering and carrying costs illustrated here. If you see that there are 3 lines you are seeing. The top one is the annual total cost of the inventory. The second middle one is annual relevant ordering cost. It is in its purchase department to decide how much it costs to place each purchase order. And third is the annual relevant carrying cost. So how much it costs to the company. So more the inventory volume, more is the carrying cost. If you see the red line goes. Whereas the middle line, if you see annual ordering cost, so that comes down if you just want increasing the quantity order quantity will heavy, then the ordering cost will come, but the carrying cost goes up. So here what is the optimum cost? If you just see from that gap, the total cost of the ordering cost and inventory carrying cost is plotted on the topmost curve, annual relevant cost, which comes down up to certain extent and then again shoots up. So that is the point, the minimum point of the total relevant cost, that becomes inventory carrying economic ordering quantity for each order. So these, as I told, these costs can be calculated in small, medium industries also, provided the concept is known. This is not a complex calculation. It is a very simple calculation, but the concept must be known to the SME managers, ECA managers, how to calculate the cost. So this is a scientific basis of deciding what should be the economic ordering quantity, and this should be standardized for each product, each raw material, each item which need to be purchased, and accordingly order has to place. Once EOQ, economic ordering quantity, is maintained, then there won't be excess inventory. At the same time, there won't be any stock out situation. So this is the very, very important activity in the inventory management. Then reorder points, the second decision. Once you have decided what is my economic ordering quantity, then you should decide when should I place order so that my inventory is controlled and that at the same time uninterrupted supply is maintained for the raw materials. The second decision is managing goods for sales or production, when to order a given product, when to place again order. So reorder, that's called as reorder point, the quantity level of inventory on hand that triggers a new purchase order. Now let's see. There is another formula for that. Reorder point is number of units sold per unit of time into purchase order lead. So it is a link with the selling quantity. So there is a mathematical formula, simple not complex, but very effective one. So graphically, if you see, suppose my economic ordering quantity from that came 1000 units, and the actual lead time based on that is from placing order to my supplier to receiving the material in my stores. That is lead time. If it is 2 weeks, then what is the reorder level? This can be again scientifically calculated is 500. And when it has to be done, every 2 week order interval, we have to place order. So this way, it ensures that the minimum entry carrying cost at the same time, there is no stock out situation. So this is the way how to decide the reorder point. Then, as I discussed, there are 3 types of safety situations which must be maintained. One is a safety stock to take care of fluctuations in the supply of material. Then second is the buffer stock to take care of the fluctuations in the demand from the market. And third is the shipping stock. It is a time required for packaging and dispatch of the material, or during that period uninterrupted supply, there has to be some inventory kept. These are the safety stock is built, buffer against unexpected increase in demand, uncertainty about lead time, and unavailability of stock from suppliers. So this is again a mathematical model has to evolve. So the inventory should not be just on the experiences or the wills, the desire of the buyer, but it has to be scientifically calculated based on the statistical facts of the company. So this way, inventory can be managed to reduce the cost. Now, how the just-in-time concept can be applied in the purchasing process. So what is just-in-time? It is a production approach that enables the company to produce exactly what the customer wants, exactly what customer wants, when they want, and the amount they want. It is a producing neither less nor more, exactly what is needed, when it is needed, and how much is needed. That is a just-in-time concept. So this same concept can be applied in the purchasing system. Like the traditional production plan is made by the production management based on the forecast or based on their assessment. But here, just in time goes totally reverse. Now the production has to be linked rather than pushed from the production planning by the managers, by the top management. This must be produced. It should be now controlled and regulated by the sales, by the customer. The customer is, this is a pull system. Just in time is called as a pull system in contrast to the conventional push system where the production plan is made by the company. But here the production has to be made as per the requirement of the customer. Here the customer or the sales, whatever they sell, then they ask store where the inventory of finished goods maintained to supply what is needed. Then the store department, they ask assembly to produce the quantity which has to be replenished. The assembly should ask other production department to supply. So the same way, the production department will ask material from the stores, and the stores will ask from their suppliers. So the JIT management system is just reverse. The production and purchase decided by the production planning people based on the pull system, based on the forecast. What here in the just-in-time system is just reverse. So the best example is Domino's Pizza. Once how they produce a pizza, each pizza is produced and delivered against a order. And accordingly, as the pizza demand goes, the same way they ask their semi-processed material suppliers to produce material as per their requirement, and in the reverse way, the material production takes place. So the traditional inventory management system, traditional production management system is based on the push system, where the company decides how much to produce, and after production tries to push in the market, and by pressure, by marketing effort, try to sell. But here the just-in-time system, it is no more the push. It is a customer or the market is going to decide how much to be produced. So this is the basic shift in the mindset, thinking and operation of inventory management and production management to minimize the cost of operations. Any question, please? So now mass purchasing to just-in-time purchasing. Developing and operating the purchasing function. So most of the purchasing I have seen is driven by the discount offered by the companies, by the main suppliers, because of they are tempted with a bit higher discount and place the order for long. In fact, for that, because of that, so your actual cost is much more than the discount offered. So without realizing, they are incurring more cost. It's tempted by the discount rate. So JIT purchasing has been successful in reducing inventory and increasing the overall effectiveness of purchasing function and hence the productivity of. It is, many of us, they think that JIT is effective only in Japan, but it has been now successfully being adopted in the South Korea, China, Taiwan, USA, UK, Germany, France, Hong Kong, etc. Just only after understanding the concept, companies, small, large, medium, every kind of industries are switching over to the lean procurement, lean production, lean purchasing to reduce the cost and increasing the profitability. In fact, the large supermarkets, their business profitability mainly depends on the inventory management. Lower the inventory, faster the throughput, that is making them survive. The companies, those who are not able to manage inventory, and most of the big chain of stores, they are making loss and going down. So you might see every day some new companies are coming, and older companies, many older companies, they are not able to manage the inventory, so they make loss and finally they have to start their business. So same thing is applicable in the small, medium and large enterprises. So just-in-time purchasing is the purchase of materials or goods so that they are delivered exactly what is needed, how much is needed, and when and where it is needed. It is for either maybe for production or maybe for sales. So JIT is popular because carrying costs are actually much greater than estimated, because warehousing, handling, shrinkage, and investment costs have not been correctly estimated. So every company, they must understand the concept of inventory management, its various components of inventory management, actual cost calculation, then they can realize how effectively they can apply the inventory management. So that it is called as a lean procurement also. So how to introduce JIT in purchasing? Time or the production or the data production system, how it can be applied in a purchasing function. So the lead right from the placement of order or the request to order placement. See, conventionally the production department, they send indent to the purchase department to place an order. So from indent to placement of order to receiving the material, it takes a long time. The first thing is there, lead time has to be reduced, then only it can help just in time. So the reduced order lot size. Earlier the economic ordering quantity, whatever comes, that has to be calculated, and here the lot size has to be reduced. Then the inventory carrying cost can be reduced. Reduce production lead time. The same way, the throughput in the production means the speed of production right from the entry of raw material to the dispatch to the customer, lead time has to be compressed. Then introduce pull system, as I explained. Pull system is supported by a Kanban signal system, which helps in reducing the inventory, and the partnering with the suppliers. Suppliers should be treated as a partner, not just the external agent. Lead time means the procurement lead time has got two components. It's right from the indent to the getting the material by the process production unit, has got two main activities. Requisition to order lead time, or purchase department, after getting the requisition or the indent, they place an order. So this is activity done by the purchase department office function. First they must shorten this activity. Then second, order to delivery lead time. Once order is placed to the customer, to the supplier of the raw materials, the delivery, order to delivery lead time is receiving the same material within the factory. That time interval must be reduced. So these are the two activities has to be reduced. Why they take more time? During my lean manufacturing webinar, I discussed about this, why it takes more time, because of the 8 types of waste generated in any process, whether it is a ordering process, office process, or the production process. So that increases the lead time. So to reduce the lead time of requisition to order or order to delivery, these 8 kinds of waste has to be identified in the process and has to be minimized to get the effective. So the JIT model cost curve. Here, if you see, earlier in the conventional method, optimal ordering lot used to be very high, where JIT, you see that it has been reduced. So the overall cost of inventory carrying, that has come down just by reducing the economic ordering quantity to an optimal level. That helps in the reduction of that. So what are the essential aspects of just in time? First is the reduction or the minimization of inventory in supply chain. Lessons have been learned from Japanese methods, where substantial efficiencies are gained from frequent deliveries of small quantities to meet the immediate demand. So in the conventional method, what the purchase department does, they place less number of orders but for larger quantity. Whereas JIT says place more number of orders for the frequent deliveries, but in smaller lot size. That will help the reduction of inventory carrying cost and overall cost. Then second is application of Kanban. As I explained earlier, see, in a pull system, Kanban is a Japanese word used for the signal. Once your inventory level has come to the reorder level, then a signal is placed to the previous process so that it takes action for procurement and production of the same thing, same item, and replenishes the dispatch or sales system. Then employee participation. So just in time or the lean management is basically, its success depends on all the participation of all employees. That's why it is a cultural issue. Company, every employee must be participated in just-in-time activity, whether it is a production or the procurement. They must be motivated. They must learn how to eliminate waste. Then JIT is linked with Kanban. At Toyota, the production system uses tickets or cards to control immediate material flow between the workstation and other downstream. So Kanban is a signal device. It can be an electronic Kanban, just by electronic communication it can be sent, or it can be some signal or token or card can be given to the previous process to replenish it. So this way it is controlled. The upstream station receives tickets came from small fixed quantities from a downstream. So the dispatch end or the upstream process, they create a pull by giving ticket or signal for sending the defined quantity of material to the customers. Thus, users' pull of supplies are required direct on soft flow. So this is based on the pull system rather than the push system. So graphically you can see these are the racks that like created. It is called as a supermarket where a buffer stock is maintained, and the cards you are seeing, those are the Kanban. Once shipping takes out, for example, material 10 items from the production from its racks, then immediately a Kanban card is given to the production department. Now they have to produce the material which has been already taken by the next process, upstream process. Same way, once production department will give a ticket to the purchase department for procuring that much quantity to replenish it. So this way, the minimum inventory is maintained and without any interruption in the production flow. So what are the performance measures and control? Financial performance measures such as inventory turnover ratio. So here, for the materials management function, inventory turn or inventory turnover ratio is one of the very important measurement parameter for the materials management. Non-financial performance measures of time, inventory and quality are the manufacturing lead time, units produced per hour, days of inventory on hand, setup time as percent of total manufacturing time, number of defective units as a percentage of total units produced. So these are some of the measures applied for the inventory management based on the just-in-time. Let's see from practical angle, and I am doing lean consulting to various small and medium enterprises. So try to make a more practical solution for the small industries so that they can simply learn and implement the inventory. So the first thing what I observed is that procurement must be linked, procurement and production of any company must be linked with the dispatch rate. Not just getting the sales order, how much actually has been dispatched out of your factory premises. The actual throughput can be observed from the dispatch rate, which is converted into cash. So calculate the dispatch rate or average dispatch of products from your factory during the last financial year. This gives the most realistic figure of your company's performance. As per JIT production, it should be according to customer demand or sales volume. Then next is the production rate. Calculate the actual production rate or average production rate of the product from your factory during last financial year. Actual production should be planned from the sales plan customer order. This generally the production plan made by the production department, PPC production planning department, based on certain assumptions. But now it should be linked with the sales. The sales people must have a very strong say in the production plan. Production plans should incorporate the yield factor of production process at different stages. Then the procurement rate, what is the frequency of purchase, procurement of raw materials. So it should be linked with the production and dispatch, as I told. Purchase orders be according to sales and dispatch data. So the safety stock, there are three types of safety stock has to be maintained. One is safety stock to take care of the fluctuations of supply of the material into the company from the supplier environment. Then the buffer stock is maintained to take care of fluctuations in the market demand. Suddenly demand goes very high. So foreseeing those demands, a buffer stock has to be made to take care of the fluctuating market situation. And the shipping stock has to be maintained for maintaining a proper stock to take care of the shipping period. So this way, a supermarket and Kanban system has to be maintained. So the inventory these are buffer stocks, finished good inventory, all these are taking care of fluctuations in the next process, because the purchase, production, shipping, all three are different kind of activities. It cannot be exactly matched. There will be always some variations. So those variations are managed by keeping the buffer stock, safety stock, and shipping stock along with the proper inventory, WIP, and the finished goods in the production and supply value state. So the inventory turnover is a measure of the number of times inventory is sold or used in a time period such as yearly or half year. The equation for inventory turnover equals the cost of goods sold or net sales divided by the average inventory. So this gives the efficiency of management, how fast, how many times the inventory is cycled. So this can be calculated by inventory turnover by cost of goods sold by the inventory, average inventory during the same period. So the next matrix is the calculate lead time. This can be established by value stream mapping, how much actually order to delivery lead time takes place. That must take into consideration the WIP and the finished goods, safety, buffer stock, and shipping stock maintained in the system. So all must be included while calculating the lead time. So the same way, inventory turnover calculated based on the actual figure of the last year, and average inventory from your annual financial records one can calculate and obtain the actual inventory turnover. How the inventory turnover ratio impacts, if you just see, if inventory turnover ratio that goes up, over of inventory carrying cost comes down. It is significantly comes down. So this big supply chain supermarkets, their whole profitability depends on how fast they turn their inventory. Inventory turnover ratio is less, then they cannot make a profit. So their whole emphasis is to increase the inventory turnover ratio and reduce the inventory carrying cost. Then only they are able to sell at competitive price and more value. So what are the benefits of just-in-time purchasing? First is reduction in inventory level. Is this way, immediately you will feel more breathing space, more clutter-free workplace, on your shop floor. Improve lead time reliability. It is managed, your lead time becomes more reliable, under control. Scheduling flexibility. Because of this time system, one can make a flexible schedule, can increase or reduce the production system, improve improved quality. This forces you to improve the quality and thus reducing the quality cost. So the overall cost is reduced and synergy with the suppliers. So suppliers are taken as a partner in the supply chain, and this way it helps in synergize the whole supply activity. So these are the benefits of. Let's see what is the difference between traditional and JIT purchasing, what we are practicing now. Traditional, relatively large lot sizes. These orders are placed for the bigger lots, whereas the JIT purchasing it emphasizes on the smaller lot size. Traditionally, less deliveries at higher quantities. Frequency of deliveries of raw materials or the inputs is lesser but larger lot, but here it becomes more frequent deliveries in smaller sizes. A typical 2% rejection from supplier. Here no rejection from the supplier. Lowest price is the main objective. Here the price means minimum price, long term, but here in the JIT purchasing, long term contracts are placed, but the deliveries are deferred, means in the more frequent deliveries are made. It is a traditional time consuming form of paperwork. For the larger order, tendering process, finalization, negotiation, it requires a lot of time, especially in large companies, public sectors, government sectors. It is a very, very longer lead time for the purchase placement of order. Here the buyer decides delivery situation. Here the buyer will give the time for the delivery of the material. It is a formal communication, traditional. It is innovation encouraged by the minimal paperwork, less formal communication. It becomes a very close interaction with the consumer and the supplier. So these are the some main differences between a traditional. Now, how to apply JIT in purchasing and production. Here comes the principles of lean thinking, which I have discussed in the lean manufacturing concept. These are the 5 principles which govern it. Specify value from customer perspective. So what is required by the customer or the buyer? That has to be specified in clear terms. What is needed, when it is needed, what is the quality terms, delivery schedule, everything. Then identify the value stream. All the activity of the purchasing, production, supply must be mapped and identify where the bottlenecks are there. What is it causing delay? What is it causing more kind of waste? So all the waste must be identified. There are the various lean tools to identify the waste and techniques to eliminate those waste. So all the waste must be identified and eliminated to ensure that there is continuous flow as per the demand rate. Production will be done, not just on the push basis. And while pursuing the perfection, all these activities must be continuously improved to ensure better value, lower lead time. So to reduce inventory, how it has to be introduced in the company, these are the 4 phases I suggest. Awareness, paradigm change. Everybody must understand the lean philosophy, just-in-time concept. Then the diagnostic study has to be done to identify where are the bottlenecks which are causing more inventory. So the root causes of inventory must be identified and it must be eliminated in the remedial phase by solving problem. There are several lean tools can be used to reduce the waste, which will reduce the inventory. And finally, to sustain this one, again tools are there and a lean culture has to be created to ensure that angle graphically you can say there whole supply chain involves procurement, storage, production and sales. So the procurement lead time can be reduced by applying lean office concept where the office waste are minimized. Stores can minimize the inventory by reducing stores inventory, applying the same JIT and Kanban method, and the production should minimize its lead time by reducing the production waste. So at different fronts, parallel waste elimination is required to reduce the overall inventory. So let's see procurement lead time inventory. Here the concept of value stream means all the steps, both value creating and non-value creating, required to complete a production or service from beginning to end has to be mapped, and these are the metrics for that process. Process time, delay time, lead time, then the percent complete and accurate. These are the four metrics in the procurement process. Purchase time, actually time is spent for processing a document or order or any activity. The delay time means how much time the job or the work is waiting for to be processed. And finally, lead time is the process time plus delay time. This has to be minimized to reduce the inventory. Then the percent accurate and complete is the quality matrix for the office jobs like purchase order. There are a lot of quality problems in the purchase order. Sometimes wrong specification is given, sometimes wrong quantity is mentioned, wrong delivery schedule. So this is a quality of placement of purchase order that must be addressed, and it is measured by percent complete and accurate. Many purchase orders you will find there is no completeness of the information. Then supplier has to clarify. So these are activities they cause delay. So purchasing current value stream, of course the value stream is a unique tool, just I am showing for the example. Each step has to be mapped, and how much is the process time at each activity, how much delay time, how much percentage complete accurate, all these data are collected for every workstation, and then it is analyzed how to reduce the workstation activity so that the waiting time is minimized. If you just see, there are so many workstations are there, so many people hands off involved. So it can be made simpler, just making same purchase order at two stations. So the whole order procurement time, order processing time can be drastically reduced. So if you just see a typical activities or workstations in the purchasing value stream: requisition, receipt, source suppliers, tender process, purchase approved, purchase orders sent to suppliers, expediting and delivery. So many activities. So because of the various kinds of waste, they are taking longer time. How to reduce those waste to reduce the lead time in the purchasing process is by a Kaizen. I have discussed about the Kaizen also in one of the webinars. There is a PDC approach. By applying the same principles, same technique, one can reduce the purchase procurement lead time in the company. So reduce order placement lead time. So overall time right from negotiation to the finalization of order can be improved by improving the process of and each activity. Then second is reduce order lot size. As I mentioned, economic ordering quantity or the lot size, order lot size is reduced, inventory carrying cost drastically comes down. So, but the frequency of deliveries can be increased. So this way, order lot size has to be reduced in a frequent on-time delivery schedule. Schedule has to be made to make very frequent delivery. If you are just receiving, for example, only twice in a month some raw material, instead of twice a month, it can be made to reduce the inventory, it can be made as a weekly. Then later on it can be made bi-weekly. Means there are so many options. It has to be seen what is the most economic and optimal. Now comes to the reduction of production lead time. A typical example I discussed earlier also, a global engineering company which is making fuel tank brackets. It is facing large inventory, large production costs. So they wanted to reduce its costs and try to apply the JIT concept so that they remain competitive in the business. Otherwise, with a very high inventory and lot of waste, they are not able to make any profit. These are involved in the global engineering value stream. Stamping, spot welding, deburring and assembly. They are using hot rolled steel plates, steel strips. So this requires any question. So these are the four. First process mapping is done, stamping, spot welding, deburring and assembly. These are four operations are involved. The problem is that their inventory was very high, production cost was very high. So they are not able to make any profit. So they wanted to introduce JIT system in their production and supply. So the first step is that this is called value stream map was made. The stamping is spot welding, debug. Actual data was collected about cycle time, changeover time, reliability, and the first pass yield. And the actual time noted. So the current state value stream map is made. So the whole order lead time you see at the end, it is a 40 days the material was taking from the raw material to the finished state. Whereas actual operation was done just for the 105 seconds on the job. It is less than 2 minutes, but the material was remaining for 40 days in the company. So because of the 40 days staying in the company, overall cost goes up. Challenge is how to reduce the lead time. And the lead time, the main reason is the high inventory that is increasing the lead time. So the data were collected and targets were set. So inventory was raw material 10 days, stamping 5425 pieces, spot welding 1400, 1225 at the deburring. So this way, target were made, means all the data about the cycle time, changeover time, reliability, first pass yield were collected by a team of quality project team. They actually collected data by observation, not just by the old historical records, and then analyzed. And based on the actual time, a target was set by the team. The lead time original was 40 days. Okay, they decided let's go on for the 7 days. Process time 105 seconds, 91 seconds. Inventory 10,700 pieces. Target was set 1855. The operators, 5 operators to reduce 1 operator. Process step 4 to 2. So this was based on the analysis. This was found. This is a possibility and target was set. Then a new future state map was developed where the stamping, spot welding, deburring and assembly were combined together by making some improvement to the process. Instead of 3 different workstations, it clubbed to one place. So inventory between these 3 operations became a 0. The stamping was separated because it is very fast process. This by applying the lean manufacturing and value stream mapping, a significant improvement was made. And these are the 3 process loops were made based on the different nature of operations. Like stamping is a very fast process. Separated and the buffer stock was maintained. Kanban and supermarket was introduced. Then the spot welding, deburring, assembly was combined to make one loop, and third was shipping, packing and shipping was made. And so all 3 loops were linked with the supermarket to hold the inventory for the uninterrupted supply of the material at the same time with the minimum possible raw materials and WI. So from the analysis of value stream map, these are the 9 projects were identified as a problems which is causing higher inventory. For that, projects were taken up to reduce the lead time, to reduce order lot size, introduce Kanban and raw material supermarket, improve stamping, changeover, improve spot welding quality, improve deburring equipment reliability, combine spot welding and deburr operations, introduce Kanban in a production system, introduce Kanban at system. So applying the JIT or the lean system, these were the 9 projects were taken to make improvement in the whole value stream. And these projects were taken up by different Kaizen teams applying the plan, do, check, act methodology. I have discussed in one of the webinar how the Kaizen can be conducted. So it's applying same thing, and finally improvements were made in which processes were labeled, because the production rate of different processes are different. So in between inventory was being built up. Defects reduced because of the high defect rate. More inventory has to be maintained. Equipment availability improved because frequent breakdowns, they need to maintain high inventory so that the delivery schedules are met. Die change time reduced, work standardized and people are trained. So the impact of these projects Kaizens were observed as inventory reduction, lead time reduction and overall cost reduction of the production system. So the results obtained is the lead time, which was 40 days, came down 7 days. Process time 105 to 91 days in seconds. Inventory pieces 10,700. Here the more than 80% inventory reduction took place by applying the JIT concept. Operators reduced from 5 to 4. Process steps reduced from 4 to 2. So this is the outcome of implementation of just in time in a small and medium enterprise. Now, at the concluding end, I would like to advise how to launch JIT inventory management in your company. First, select a pilot value stream. Pilot value stream is for a particular product family. You just select which is generating highest revenue. It should not be taken throughout the entire production system. You have to first experiment in one particular product line. So select a pilot value stream, map the selected value stream using the value stream mapping as I have shown in the case study. Identify the constraints or problem which is causing waste or the delays which is resulting to higher inventory. Select project for improvement. As I have shown you, 9 projects were selected, and for 9 projects, 9 teams were appointed from the cross-functional teams, from the people involved in that operations. 9 teams were there. Then they were trained on the Kaizen, right? Kaizen project teams were formed. Then trained on the project teams on how to improve process performance by Kaizen. Then they, after training, they implemented the improvement. Maximum time 90 days means generally a project is taken so 3 to 4 months. Then once success is achieved, process is standardized and documented, and benefits were evaluated, and once the operation has been improved, reward and recognition is very important. Team must be encouraged, people should be encouraged and rewarded for a good work. So this way a culture for the continuous improvement takes place. These are the steps, practical steps based on my hands-on experiences, and suggesting this way you can also understand and adopt just in time in your company. But you need a proper consultant. I am not selling the consulting, but you need an expert to train your people, design your system, improve your system, and help you to facilitate, help you to attain better inventory management in your company. So This is just a schedule, this tentative, how it can be done within 6 to 8 months you can implement it. It is just a typical example is there for these 9 activities. In a short term, you can experiment in your company. So the finally, philosophy of continuous improvement. Get a little bit better single day. All just in time. The Kaizen or lean manufacturing based in the continuous improvement. So the step by step, every company can become world class, irrespective of what is the current state. But you have to learn, you have to be committed, you have to implement, you have to practice, and this is the only way. And the continuous improvement is an unending journey. As long as the company exists, continuous improvement is must to face the competition, to remain always better than your competitors. It is not a one-time journey, it is a culture. It has driven by the top management, the leadership has to take a role. And if it is, this is the only way for the survival and growth of any small, medium or big organization. Even the bigger organization, if they don't do continuous improvement, they cannot sustain the business. So this is the, in brief, I tried to share with all of you how just in time can be introduced to reduce inventory, reduce our working capital, and reduce overall costs. The simple concept has been implemented during lean consulting in various industries, and there has been a drastic reduction in the inventory management, but it has to be scientifically calculated and implemented. So with this, I thank you for your participation and patient hearing on this very important topic, which can give you immediate benefit by reduction of work. Any further clarifications, you are most welcome to contact EFS. Thank you. Any question? If you are still having, I'll be glad to clarify. You can email your questions, which can be answered later on also. But whatever doubts you are having, you should be free and frank to ask us. Thank you very much.